10 million Brits are now banned from having people round for Sunday lunch as local restrictions spill out across the country. 1 in 7 people in England are now banned from socialising inside private homes, including in Newcastle, Manchester and Birmingham. Once you count local action by the Scottish and Welsh governments too, the impact is enormous. And after huge swathes of the northeast were put under extra local restrictions today, the pressure on the Prime Minister and the nation is mounting. Boris Johnson has refused to implement a new national lockdown beyond the rule of 6, which makes it illegal to gather in groups over 6 in England. Instead, he's relying on local rules. But there are now so many local rules, the system could risk getting out of hand. Previously, the PM claimed local rules would only be a whack-a-mole strategy, nipping COVID-19 outbreaks in the bud one town at a time. But more than 30 towns, cities, or areas are now affected. Other areas such as Merseyside may soon be on the way to vastly increasing the number of people hit. All this will make the rules more confusing and harder to follow, which in turn raises the risk of a new wave of coronavirus. So the question for Boris Johnson is, at what point will there be so many local lockdowns that he has to give up and go for a national strategy? NO10 was tight-lipped today. On the one hand, the Prime Minister is refusing to countenance a national lockdown, saying it's a last resort that would be disastrous for the economy. On the other hand, a senior Whitehall source predicted he would bring in so many other measures, he effectively enacts one by the back door. Put simply, we don't know the answer yet. So for now, here's why we are as of today all the areas under local restrictions, and a brief summary of what those restrictions are. For full latest information in your area, including the full list of exemptions in each area, please visit this page in England, this page in Wales, this page in Scotland, or this page in Northern Ireland. All the UK local restriction areas. There are now more than 30 areas with local restrictions due to coronavirus in the UK. Local chiefs insist they are not a lockdown, and they're not a full lockdown like we had in March, but the nickname has stuck. These restrictions vary massively across the UK, but as far as we can tell, they all have one thing in common. In all of these areas, you are banned from meeting up with anyone you don't live with in any private home or garden, either your own home or this. The exception is people in your support bubble in England, or your extended household in Scotland. There are also some other exemptions. This goes further than the England-wide rule of 6, which makes gatherings of more than 6 people illegal, apart from a string of exemptions. Now, many of these areas have several other local restrictions too, such as bans on meeting people in pubs, 10 p.m. closures, or travel restrictions. However, these vary from area to area, so for simplicity they're not included in this first list. Scroll down for more. This list is correct at the time of writing. England restrictions in the whole area: Birmingham, Manchester, Newcastle, Gateshead, Bolton, Trafford, Bury, Tameside, Rochdale, Salford, Preston, Leicester, Sandwell, Solihull, Oldham, Northumberland, North Tyneside, South Tyneside, County Durham, Sunderland. Restrictions in part or most of the area. Bradford, Calderdale, Kirklees, Pendle, Blackburn, Wales, Caerphilly, County Borough, Rhondda, and Taff, Scotland, East Dunbartonshire, East Renfrewshire, Glasgow, North Lanarkshire, Renfrewshire, South Lanarkshire, West Dunbartonshire, Northern Ireland, Belfast City Council area, postcode areas BT28, BT29 and BT43. The town of Birmingham. Different rules in key areas of England. Here is more detail on the rules in each area. It's not a complete guide as the rules is complex and very long. For full latest information in your area, including the full list of exemptions in each area, please visit this page in England, this page in Wales, this page in Scotland, or this page in Northern Ireland. North East Ware, Northumberland, North Tyneside, Newcastle upon Tyne, Gateshead, South Tyneside, Sunderland, and County Durham. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with, unless they're in your support bubble, either in private homes and gardens, or in public venues like pubs and restaurants. Pubs and bars. Food and drink venues can remain open until 10 p.m, but must be table service only. Between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m, all leisure and entertainment venues must shut completely. Travel. Public transport should only be used for essential reasons, like traveling to school or work. Take holidays only within your own household or support bubble. Birmingham and surrounding area where Birmingham, Solihull and Sandwell. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with, unless they're in your support bubble in private homes and gardens. This is still allowed in public venues, within the rule of 6. Parts of Manchester, East Lancashire and West Yorkshire where Manchester City, Bolton, Trafford, Bury, Tameside, Rochdale, Salford, Preston, Oldham and parts of Bradford, Calderdale, Kirklees, Pendle, and Blackburn. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with, unless they're in your support bubble, either in private homes and gardens, or in public venues like pubs and restaurants. Shielding. Parts of Blackburn only. If you were originally told to shield, you should continue to do so. Bolton where Bolton. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with, unless they're in your support bubble, either in private homes and gardens, or in public venues like pubs and restaurants. Pubs and bars. Food and drink venues can serve until 10 p.m, but must be takeaway only. Between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m, all leisure and entertainment venues must shut completely. Businesses, casinos, skating rinks, bowling alleys and indoor play areas must not open. Leicester where Leicester. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with, unless they're in your support bubble, either in private homes and gardens, or in public venues like pubs and restaurants. Shielding. If you were originally told to shield, you should continue to do so. Scotland where East Dunbartonshire, East Renfrewshire, Glasgow City, North Lanarkshire, Renfrewshire, South Lanarkshire, West Dunbartonshire. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with indoors, unless they're in your extended household, either in private homes, or in public venues like pubs and restaurants. You can however still meet outdoors. Wales where Caerphilly, County Borough and Rhondda and Taff. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with anywhere indoors, either in private homes and gardens, or in public venues like pubs and restaurants. You can still meet outdoors. Pubs and bars, Ronda sign and TAF only. All licensed premises must close at 11 p.m. Travel. You will not be allowed to enter or leave the council area without a reasonable excuse. Northern Ireland where Belfast City Council area, postcode areas BT28, BT29 and BT43, the town of Birmingham. Social contact. Do not socialize with people you don't live with apart from people in your bubble in a private dwelling. You can still meet in gardens or outdoors or in public venues like pubs and restaurants. Exemptions to the rules. There are exemptions to the rule on meeting up with people outside your household. In England, these can vary but generally include where everyone in the gathering lives together or is in the same support bubble to attend a birth at the mother's request to visit a person who is dying. The visitor can be someone the dying person lives with, a close family member, friend, or, if none of those is visiting, anyone else. To fulfill the legal obligation for work purposes, see guidance on working safely in other people's homes, or for the provision of voluntary or charitable services for the purposes of education or training for the purposes of childcare provided by a registered provider, to provide emergency assistance to enable one or more persons in the gathering to avoid injury or illness, or to escape a risk of harm, to facilitate a house move, to provide care or assistance to a vulnerable person, to continue existing arrangements for access to and contact between parents and children where the children do not live in the same household as their parents or one of their parents. How 10 million Brits are hit. Today's announcement means 10 million people in Britain will now be living under local restrictions. Some 6.4 million people are thought to live in the areas of England which are completely covered by local restrictions, according to analysis of official population estimates by the Mirror. A further 1.4 million people are living in parts of England where the borough has local restrictions, but those restrictions don't cover the entire borough. Another 1.8 million live in areas with local restrictions in Scotland, and 400,000 live in the two counties with restrictions in Wales. Combined, those figures suggest slightly over 10 million people in total are living in areas where local restrictions in place. We looked at official population estimates for 2020 in England and 2019 in Scotland and Wales.